How are you approaching God when you pray? Have you ever stopped to think about the posture of your heart, your mind, and even your body at the moment you say you're entering the presence of the Almighty? Prayer is not just words. Prayer is positioning. Prayer is intention. Prayer is the invisible posture of the soul before the one who created heaven and earth. And for many people, prayer has become something done at the edge of sleep. At the end of the day, when their mind is scattered, their energy empty, and their heart half awake. They call that a conversation with God, but deep down, they know it's not. Think about this carefully. If you were invited to speak with a king, would you show up yawning, distracted, lying down? Would you show up scrolling through your phone, giving him whatever attention was left after everything else? Of course not. Yet millions of believers treat the presence of God with less honor than they give to ordinary moments of their day. And not because they don't love God me. Genuinely do, but because comfort has become the master of their spiritual life. God is not your background noise as you fall asleep. He is not your bedtime routine, your emotional pillow, or a transition between stress and rest. He is the living God. He is the one who sees you deeply, the one who knows your thoughts before they form, the one who listens not only to what you say, but to the effort you make to say it. Prayer is relationship, and relationships grow through intentionality. Comfort, however, is a subtle thief. It sneaks into your habits slowly. It tells you that praying in bed is harmless, that God understands, that it's easier to talk to Him when you're comfortable. And yes, there are moments when that is true moments of illness, moments of deep exhaustion, moments of emotional brokenness, moments when God Himself visits you in the stillness of the night. But when comfort becomes the default posture of your entire prayer life, something begins to die inside you without you realizing it. Because comfort numbs hunger. Comfort weakens discipline. Comfort silences passion. Comfort slowly extinguishes the fire that once burned inside you for God. And here's something we often forget. Posture shapes the heart. When your body refuses to move, your spirit begins to follow the same pattern. When your knees never bend, your ego forgets how to bow. When your eyes close out of sleep instead of reverence, you start losing awareness of who you retalking to, and little by little, prayer becomes something you fit in rather than something you pursue. There is a profound difference between falling asleep talking to God because you love Him and using prayer as a tranquilizer to relax your mind. One is intimacy. The other is avoidance. One is a relationship. The other is routine. One is surrender. The other is habit. God sees the difference. A heart that truly longs for God doesn't approach Him only in the leftover moments of the day. A seeking heart wakes up early when necessary. It stands. It kneels. It carves out a moment. It fights its own laziness. It pushes against the weight of the flesh. It says, Lord, You matter. You are worth this effort. You are worth this time. Throughout Scripture, we see examples of men and women who understood the power of posture. They didn't kneel because God needed them to. They knelt because their own hearts needed it. They raised their hands. They cried out. They sought solitude. They positioned themselves with intention. Not because God couldn't hear them otherwise, but because reverence pulled them closer. Honor unlocked their sincerity. Effort awakened their focus. So let me ask you, what is your body saying when you pray? What are your habits revealing about your priorities? Because your actions preach a louder sermon than your words. If all your prayers happen when you're already half asleep, what does that say about your hunger for God? If the only time you talk to Him is when it requires no sacrifice, no focus, no movement, what does that say about your desire to know Him deeply? This is not about guilt. This is about awakening. This is about reminding you that your spiritual life deserves more than your final sparks of energy, more than your last minutes of consciousness, more than the moments when you're barely aware of your own thoughts. God deserves your best not because He demands it, but because giving Him your best keeps your heart alive. A sleeping posture often creates a sleeping spirit, and a comfortable body often leads to a comfortable faith. But your faith was never meant to be comfortable. It was meant to be alive, burning, pursuing, growing, stretching. Your faith was meant to wake you up, not lull you to sleep. So today, let this be your call, not from me, but from the Spirit that nudges your heart even as you hear these words. Get up. Rise from spiritual drowsiness. Shake off the heaviness that keeps you in the same place. Go to that quiet corner of your room. Close the door. Turn off the noise and talk to God with intention, with presence, with awareness of who He is. You don't need perfect words. You don't need elaborate prayers. You just need to show up fully, present, awake, willing. Willing. He meets you in weakness, in fatigue, in brokenness, but He also meets you in discipline and desire, in the quiet places you choose to create for Him. When you take one step toward Him, He responds. When you lift your heart intentionally, something changes in the atmosphere. When you humble yourself, you strengthen your spirit. So, return to your altar. Return to the place where your heart once cried out with fire. Return to the hunger you used to feel. Return to the discipline that once shaped your walk with Him. Not out of pressure, but out of love. Because love makes effort. Love shows reverence. Love moves. Today is not a day for spiritual sleep. Today is a day for awakening. A day to stand. A day to kneel. A day to honor the God who has never stopped listening. Never stopped waiting. Never stopped drawing your heart back to Him. Wake up, child of God. The King is waiting. Meet Him with a heart that is awake again.